Hey everyone, welcome in this new video. In today's video I will rank the ships in battlebay in a role list. Now, these are just things that are in the game. You have ships and they play a role, a certain role, and then they have only one target, and that is to fulfill that role. And some of these roles that I'm gonna mention are very important. So, yeah, here we go. First of all, we have the shooter, which is definitely going to be placed in offense and attack. Now, how how much do these roles get played? How much? Well, I'm going to tell you, I think that 40% of the battlebay community, or actually 50% of the battlebay community, plays offense and attack. Then we have support, which gets played around like 40 to 30%. And the defense role is going to be selected the least. It's only getting 10 to 20%. Now, the reason why I make these calculations is because not many people play defense anymore. Many people are going to be more interested in offense or support. Either one of those two. Okay, so next up we have the speeder, or actually the defender, but whatever. And I'm gonna name this one in the offense and attack. And the reason I named the speeder is as an offense and attack ship is because you're most of the time gonna be attacking rather than supporting. And some people will say, "What? You serious?" Yes, I'm serious. Because the chances of you getting a fixer at the beginning are pretty high, of course. You will always have someone like that. But it doesn't necessarily mean you always have to fight a fixer, which is why I'm gonna name it in support. I mean offensive attack, because you're most of the time going to be attacking and playing on the front line instead of playing on the back lines. So that's the field position that you have. And the shooters, they actually play mid front. Like they play mid front actually, because they can be playing together with the fixer and they can shoot people down, or they can push aggressively. For instance, if the fixer has a bolt instead of a flipping plasma, which you can do later on, because you will just get overrun by enforcers, interceptors, and that stuff. But interceptors mostly, because the enforcer is just outplayed by the interceptor. But anyways, that doesn't matter. So that's the reason why it's ranked in offense and attack. You're most of the times going to be finding yourself on the front line, and then getting only back for the heals from the fixer, and then going back in the front line again, and then getting damage, and then weird again. You know, that's just an algorithm. But if you don't have a fixer, you have to stun. Like, you have a stun bolt for a reason on this ship. Okay, so next up we have the Interceptor, which is going to be ranked in offense and attack as well, simply because you dash in, you deal damage, you finish enemies, just like the same role as Speeder, but this ship is a little bit easier. Or actually, they are both difficult. They are both difficult. I'm not going to say they are easy. These ships here, they are all pretty difficult because most of the community plays them completely wrong. Well, actually, Speeder not really, but the Interceptor and the Shooter, those two get played really badly sometimes. I have seen nightmares, man. I have seen nightmares in these low leagues that people play Shooter with multi-missile. Like, what the hell are you doing? Okay, so now we have also the defender, which is going to be in defense role. Of course, obviously, because you keep the front line and you don't want people to overrun you. Now, what is the mistake of this community? Most of the community says that defender is garbage. Now, how can this ship be garbage? First of all, let me tell you that this ship can actually be really dangerous. Like, if you have a really good defender on your team, and you are gonna follow commands, which most people don't do, yes, you can dominate the battlefield. And this thing can even be more dangerous than a flipping shooter and enforcer together, which is totally believable. Hey! I mean, like, think about it realistically, bro. Think about it realistically. This thing has 5 red slot points, okay? 5 red slot points. I have seen someone in my friend list that had 40k HP. Now imagine fighting against that. You get nightmares. I swear, you get nightmares. So I would actually rank this one pretty high actually. Most people say it's F tier, but I personally think that Defender is actually a really good ship. So yeah. Next up we have the Guardian, which is also going to be ranked as defense, but it has less firepower, so it's a little bit less terrifying than the flipping Defender. But on top of that, it's also a nightmare to fight, because this one is even worse because it has even more HP but less firepower. Okay, so now we come to these 3 ships. The Enforcer is definitely gonna be support, and the reason for that, some people will say, okay, the Enforcer, I'm gonna rank it in defense and offense. No, no. If you have defense and you have offense, and you have a bit of a mid-tier role, it's support. This is support. And most people are gonna be like, what? Is Enforcer support? Yeah, if you play that ship, you should know that this is support. And the reason this is support is simple. If you play together with a fixer, you have only one mission: keeping the front line, just like these 2 badasses. But if the enemy has a fixer, you know what you should do? Jump in the front line, kill that enemy fixer, get back to your team, heal up, and charge in again. That's basically how you're gonna play. If the enemy has a fixer, but you don't, you play aggressive, try to kill the fixer, clear. So it's support. It depends on the situation how you play, and it really requests much study, but I definitely think that this is the only yellow ship right now here in this tier list that is actually support, because I don't see the speeder as support, because you play mostly on the front lines. And I think that most people here will agree when they hear my voice, because I mean, like, it's logic, right? It's logic. Okay, so Fixer is support and Reaper is support as well. I would say that the Reaper in some situations is more valuable than the Fixer, but if the team really plays well together with their Fixer, they are able to overrun the heals from the Reaper. So the Reaper strategy is simple. You basically want to push forward and you want to kill that enemy fixer as fast as possible, because if you don't and you keep healing up and you keep being terrified, there is no way you're gonna stop a fixer like that. Because if the fixer is just as good as the Reaper, the fixer will gain more value because it has more heals and it will overrun the Reaper. So keep that in mind. That's the only thing that you need to keep in mind when you play the Reaper. So these are my rankings, and some people will say, but why did you not make just defense as support? No, no, my friend, no. The blue ships are actually meant for defense and attack, but mostly for defense. They are mostly meant for defense, and the reason for that is simple. They push forward, and once they reach their goal, which is to keep the front line, or go capture, you will not be able to stop them anymore. Like, that's the thing with Defender. It moves really slow, but once it reaches its target, you're done for. The whole team needs to retreat. And at that point, you're shattered. That's how simple it is. Like, people underestimate the Defender, actually. They underestimate the Defender, they underestimate the Enforcer. The only good defensive ship that people see is the Guardian, but I want to inspire people to play these 2 ships because they are really good And, well, that's how simple it is. Some people will disagree with me and they will laugh at me, but it's the truth. This is just the truth. I mean, like, of course the defender plays slow. Of course it gets boring. But if you really don't want to play defender and you really want to play a bit of a frontline thing, the enforcer is for you. Definitely. Anyway, that was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'm sorry if I keep making these tier list videos, but that's just me, you know. I like to do these things, and I think that most people would agree on this ranking. I think that some people will not agree with the speeder thing here, but I just don't see it as support. Like, how can you see this as support? Yes, okay, you need to help teammates that are in trouble, but isn't that the fixer's job? Like, it's their fault that they die in front because they push too far. That's the thing with shooters. They either push too far or they sit in the back. That's the thing with shooter. Most people don't know how to play shooter. If you make a solid setup, like a ranged setup, then there isn't that much of a problem. But they are stupid because they spam mortars and they sit in the back. That's not the case here. That's not what you want to do. You want to push. Like, you want to push, but you don't want to over push. It's really difficult, but once you see how you need to play shooter, you will absolutely dominate the battlefield. So that's the thing with shooter. And the same goes for interceptors, but I do think that interceptors mostly know how far they can push and how far they can go before they get shot down. That's just the thing here. Now, anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching and I hope you learned something from this. I hope everyone right now knows what their positioning in the battlefield is. Like, I mean, shooter is front. Well, no, shooter is mid front. Speeder is front line. Interceptor is mid front line. Just like the shooters, but they can also play on the front line, so yeah, mid front line. That's how simple it is. Defense, this one is front line, this one is front line, this one is front line, this one is back, this one is also back line. So yeah, that's the positioning of the ships. So goodbye, have a nice day, and yeah, ciao.